Hello, everybody.
I gotta pee.
Really?
I do.
Steve, seriously.
I'm serious, yeah.
You're ridiculous.
I'll wait for a minute.
Okay.
Right.
My goodness, you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. I am Kate Dillon from Crate Insider, and I'm sitting here today with Steve Hendren from Hendren Racing Engines. And of course, this is part of the Racing Insiders podcast, and we do this for Crate Insider. We go live every Sunday at 5:30 Eastern is our new time.
This time of year. Yeah.
This time of year, we're going with 5:30 Eastern on both Facebook and on YouTube. So we invite you to ask any questions you might ask. But you even told me to start the broadcast early.
I did, and I forgot I had
and
to
then
pee.
The moment that we start, you're
I
like, I have to pee. So anyway,
it's
I
stage fright. Stage fright.
Wow. No, I used to do that. I probably still do that. Like when I'm ready to record videos, then it's like I have to. Oh gosh, I have to use the restroom really quick. Okay, well now I'm thirsty. Now I have to get a drink of water.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I have to redo my lipstick. And I can procrastinate making a video for like 2 hours. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, at least I got to do number one, not a number two. So.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Just saying.
All right, if you're gonna go. I'm gonna say hi to some folks.
All right, I'll be right back.
Unbelievable.
Sorry, gotta pee.
Wow. Anyway,
Did not plan this.
I'm gonna say hi, Scott from California, where Bobby Hogue the Fourth won at Antioch last night. I know. Steve. Awesome. Yeah, Steve says that's awesome, and Danny says hi. And Roy Bain, of course, I've been on his podcast and really enjoyed that a lot. In fact, Roy, doing the StreamYard experience with you, it really motivated me to try it out for myself. And we love StreamYard now. Just absolutely love StreamYard for being able to stream live to both Facebook and YouTube. It has been absolutely phenomenal. So, thanks for that motivation. I was aware of StreamYard, but just hadn't used it. And it's totally worthwhile for us here. So thank you. And Dell's here. Hi, Dell. Summer's coming up, or weather is getting nicer. We're gonna have to plan a trip up to Lake Adger or one of the lakes around here. Tom's here from California, and KL is what's up, guys. And More Racing says hi, Kate and Steve. And and Tom, your question will get you there. And More Racing says just ordered me a 15-inch 4-blade fan. Awesome, great. Oh,
sorry about your floor.
Oh, for goodness sake! Gosh, you're making me sound like a grandma now.
I'm not joking.
All right, so Tom says, "Hey, what's Steve drinking today?"
Basic bitch ultra.
Yeah, well, I guess we always do this about what we're drinking today. Yeah. So you're drinking an ultra. Ultra. Yep, and I'm drinking. I decided to drink kombucha today.
What the fuck is that?
I don't even know how to explain it.
Kombucha.
Wow.
Kombucha? Did you say kombucha?
That's what it is. Kombucha.
Kombucha.
Not kombucha. Kombucha.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like...
It's kind of weird.
Well, it probably is, but whatever. That's what I'm drinking. And although Danny says Steve has been drinking vitamin P.
Yeah.
And Darren says
it goes in and goes out. It's the same color. Trust me.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, William Glass is here. He says, hello from South Georgia. Yep. Thanks for my engine, Kate. All right. We've got some real questions here. So we'll jump into some questions and then we can do some current events. I know. Yeah. Any questions you guys have, just drop them into the comments.
If I can answer, I will. If I can't, I'll say I can. So,
yeah. Oh, and I just got a comment here. Nice Bolas t-shirt there.
Yep.
Yep,
BLP, man.
And I'm repping Crate Insider. You just can't see it under my hair.
It's where we buy all our center sections for our carburetors from. So.
Wow, you're giving up your secrets, Steve.
I mean, everybody other than Willie uses them, so there you go.
Well, I think Willie has his own, right? Yeah. All right. So we do have a good question right here from Tom. He says, how many races before a 602 should be refreshed?
I recommend that everybody leaks them down every 10 races. And when you show more than about 12 to 15% cold leak down, then it's time to freshen it up.
Well, can you explain cold leak down versus leak down versus hot leak down?
You're not starting the engine up. I mean, you're just like going out the garage on a Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday night and leaking the thing down cold.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Oh, we got let's see. Crandall is here and he says, hey, update on last week's question about my carb flooding out in the corners.
Mm-hmm.
Steve said to put the tube from the front to the back to fix it. I tried that and put pressure regulator on and it's still doing the same thing.
Huh.
Any other ideas?
Hmm.
Need to think on that one for a minute?
Yeah. That might be a call me Monday question.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And it might be a talk to my brother question.
Right.
Because my brother's like the carburetor guru and I'm not. So.
Well, we all have limits, Steve.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Although it seems like you know everything. All right, here we go.
I don't know everything, trust me.
More Racing says, what thermostat do you recommend for a 602? I started overheating after 15 laps.
No thermostat.
And tell us a little bit why.
I don't trust them because of just what you said. So I recommend no thermostat. Run everything wide open. Tailor your cooling to whatever fan size, diameter, everything else that you're going to run. Which is one of the reasons why I like the race fan that you sell.
Okay.
Because you can literally do that. I mean, you need 4 blades, you need 3, you need 2.
Yeah.
Start with the least amount. That draws the least amount of power off the engine.
Right.
And then, tailor it to what you need.
Right.
But yeah, no thermostat, man. Them thermostats are horrible.
Gotcha.
They fail all the time. And honestly, I don't even think you can get the damn system completely full with a thermostat.
Oh.
So I'm not a fan.
Well, I knew you weren't a fan, but
No.
I think it's great to just kind of dive a little bit deeper into
Right.
why and what's the better solution.
Yep.
All right. So here we go. Rock says, what's the best 2-barrel adapter to use on a 604 with a 54412?
There's an HVH adapter you can use that you can actually move it forward and backward on the intake manifold if you're using like a 4-barrel intake and you got to use an adapter to do a 2-barrel.
Is that the 2-barrel that I saw?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've actually, I think you've got one or two on the shelf. I mean, it's not a common thing to sell because it's not a common rule. But,
right.
But
we usually say it's for a 602 because we don't really have a lot of 604s that have to run a 4412 2-barrel carburetor.
But yeah, I mean, you can move it forward and backward. And honestly, about a ½ inch off of center towards the back is usually where they run best.
Oh, that's a nice little tech tip right there. I like it. Okay. KL says, Steve, besides the obvious bolt pattern difference, what's the difference between crate headers and standard 23 degree? Well, it's not a bolt pattern difference, though, is it?
No, the bolt pattern is the same. It's port alignment versus bolt pattern.
Right.
So you're going to have like, for let's say let's take a 602 or a 604 crate engine. You're going to have an alignment issue versus the center line of what the bolt pattern is. The bolt pattern is the same on both.
Right.
But you're going to have like a port alignment deal.
Yeah.
And then 23-degree heads, like, race heads. I mean, you could have spread exhaust ports. You could have standard exhaust ports. So there's a difference there.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing is that whatever headers you're using, you want to have a flange that matches up to the exhaust ports on your particular engine.
Well, I mean,
am I right?
Yeah. And what I'll tell you is like, if you take, I think some of the BA stuff
mm-hmm.
and you take some of the Profab stuff right now, 604 headers will work on 602s, but not the other way around.
Okay.
So,
although I think BAs, their 602s will work on both. They've got them.
They might.
Right.
Yeah,
So their 604s
are
are pretty specific to 604s, but their 602 headers will work on both. It's just the way they've designed the flange on that.
Yeah. And it all has to do with the flange.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay, Darren says, I'd like to say the guys at Race Logic were very helpful with questions I had about my hobby stock setup after the class. They were personally in contact with me. Thanks a lot to them. Oh, I'm so glad, Darren. That's fantastic. I'm so glad. I mean, I'm so proud of the work that we've done with Race Logic and what we've been able to do.
Well, I mean, I went to my first one this year.
Yeah.
It was a late model school.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the best things I've ever been to.
Isn't that amazing?
Because, I mean, you got guys that are in the know giving away secrets that,
yeah,
you're not going to get anywhere else, honestly.
Well, and I saw Matt Henderson won again, and
absolutely,
I mean, he was instrumental to putting
won
that
411
together.
last night.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, that's great. And I think that's,
in the CBR house car.
Yeah. Well, and I think Darren
and Chip was there, giving all sorts of advice to everybody.
Oh yeah,
at the late model school
for sure. So. Yeah, just that whole group bringing together. And what I really love too is when you have instructors who, it's not that they disagree, they just have a different viewpoint or a different opinion. So it's not just like, okay, this is the curriculum we are teaching, and there's only one way.
That's where you actually learn stuff.
Right.
Is difference of opinion.
Right.
So I'm going to have a difference of opinion, let's say, versus Corey Hedgecock, or I'm going to have a difference of opinion versus Jason or whoever else in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of take everything we say, not necessarily with a grain of salt, but you can like kind of pick and choose what you want to follow.
Well,
but you're getting great advice no matter who's giving it to you.
Right.
I don't know how to state that any better.
Well, but I think it is a mistake to try to get advice from 10 different places, and then you cherry pick it, and it's like picking out an outfit. I mean, because I'm going to go full girl here, but you can't just pick a necklace from one outfit and a shirt from one and a pair of pants from the other and think that it's going to match and go together.
Yeah, I mean, listen to me, listen to Corey, listen to Jason, listen to whoever, and kind of go with that. And then when it doesn't work for you, I don't know, incorporate somebody else's ideas.
Well, and it could also be an expansion of what you decide to go with. So for instance, a really good example of that is you tend to like the Falcon transmissions, the Falcon roller slides.
Right.
And we know that Dave Hammond likes the Burts.
Correct.
He's
or Brenz.
Well, Brenz or Gen 1 Burts. That's he's less on the Falcon. Well, I mean, that's just
that's a difference of opinion and experience.
Well, and I think it's opinion, I think it's experience, but I think it's also areas of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the parts that we talk about are really kind of depend on where you're at in the country, because the dirt's so much different in the South than it is in the Midwest,
right?
Or is on the West Coast. So you're going to have just
the wear and tear on the race car is different.
Absolutely, so. And the rule packages are different.
Right.
So some things are just going to be more suited to certain applications. And that's what we're bringing in with all of that experience. And
I agree with a lot of what Dave has to say about the brand.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to say I agree with him like 60%.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I think Dave deals with a lot of the modifieds, IMCA market.
Right.
That type of thing. All right. Oh, here's a question for you, Steve. Mm-hmm. Jason says, how much time is needed in advance for dyno time?
Like if you call me on a Monday, normally, like let's say this week, I mean, I've got like Thursday, Friday booked. I've got nothing like Tuesday, Wednesday. I normally don't like to dyno on Monday unless we have to, just because Monday's like crazy day.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, a couple days.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, so back to the header question. Kale says, I've matched up the gaskets and they would not block any existing exhaust that I can see. This was a conversation I had this past week.
Okay, but if the header does not block the exhaust at all, then yeah, you can run it.
Good answer.
Usually without a problem. I mean, what the only question I have is like, what's the header tube diameter? I'd have a lot of questions as far as like 23-degree headers versus, running them on 602 or 604.
Well, I mean, are they a stepped header? Are they?
I mean, if it's not blocking the exhaust port, you're not going to like completely kill yourself. But there's a reason we have specific headers for 602s, 604s.
Very true. Very true. All right. David says, what's the best oil to run with a 602? We run the Valvoline VH1.
There's nothing wrong with the Valvoline. I mean, I think it's a good product. I can't sit here and bash it, and I'm not going to bash anybody's product. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for me personally, I mean, I promote the 3 oils that I know work the best, and that's Schaefer's, that's Daytona 1, and that's Klotz.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, we have all 3 of those.
I've tested the VH1, and I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha. Or VR1, whatever.
Or VR1.
All right. Tim says, Steve, on the 525 you did for me, the last 2 races we have run, my headers have been glowing red, but never before. Any suggestions?
That's like it being really rich.
Okay.
So, I mean, like if it's one of our carburetors and the headers are glowing red, that's not uncommon, honestly, because like we've got the idle circuit like so rich on these things to get them to take off that you'll glow the headers.
Okay.
So what it is just it's unburned fuel exiting through the header, and because it's unburned, it's still burning as it goes out, so it glows the headers.
Oh.
So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not something I worry about, and weather has a lot to do with that.
Oh.
So you might glow the headers. I mean, I don't know. Last night when it was like kind of super humid, so the engine's going to go full rich anyway.
Okay.
Where today you're not going to glow the headers because it's dead dry out. I mean, there's no humidity.
I wouldn't say that, but we're not completely breathing water like we were yesterday. Yeah.
So I mean, that makes a big difference too.
That's interesting.
Nothing I'd worry about messing with, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, we're talking like a few horsepower here or there, so it's not. I mean, your odds of screwing something up by messing with jetting when there are way more than the 2 or 3 horsepower you're losing by potentially being too rich.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. Brian asks, what is the best balancer or damper for a 602 and an asphalt modified?
I mean, like, I assume you're allowed to change it because it's asphalt from the factory one. So GM actually makes a 6 1/4 inch balancer, I think, that you can put on there. And then other than that, I mean, ATI would be my first choice.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Danny is asking, he says, on a 602 crate motor, there has been talk in our pits about jet coating the headers. Pros and cons. I'm not familiar with jet coating unless we're talking about ceramic coating.
We're talking about ceramic coating, I think. Pro, you're getting rid of heat out of the engine bay. Con, all that heat's in the header. So the headers, I don't think, last as long.
Yeah, you're trapping it. You're not letting it out.
I mean, what I can go by is like what Andy at ProFab says is like, don't take our stainless headers and coat them.
Right. Well,
because if you coat them, they're not going to last as long as what they would normally last. So.
Well, I mean, I remember talking to Greg Fusler at Dynatech back in the day too, and he and I talked about header wraps and ceramic coating. And what he said is, yeah, if you're insulating them, just like any kind of insulation, if you're trying to isolate it, if you're trying to isolate the heat, you're still you've got all of that heat building up, and then it's just going to radiate out from it. And there's a reason why we don't sell ceramic coated headers.
Yeah, all that heat's stuck in the header tube, and it, like I said, it's going to deteriorate the metal over time. So.
Well, and I mean, and I would wonder too. I mean, look at what we do with anti-reversion, and we're trying to completely exhaust all of the exhaust. And I don't know if their ceramic coating would make any difference, but if you are going to insulate, it's still going to be hotter. And don't you want that fresh air charge to not be? That doesn't matter.
That's completely two different things.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's why I asked the questions.
Right.
So,
but I don't recommend it. I mean, we played years and years ago with ceramic coating exhaust ports, combustion chambers, stuff of that nature, and I mean, it's nothing I'd recommend, honestly.
Yeah. Interesting. William's asking if he needs to change to Tuesday.
To what?
William Glass is asking if he needs to change to Tuesday.
To Tuesday, I don't get it.
I don't know if he's going to Dyno or what, but I don't know. Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't have a dyno written down for him yet.
More Racing 38. Probably a dumb question. For a couple laps, my car feels good going into turns and coming out of turns, but in between the 2 turn, sometimes get loose and slides to the wall. Any recommendations?
Hang on.
It feels good for a couple of laps going into turns and coming out, but in between, gets loose and slides to the wall.
I mean, generally, if you're like pushing up towards a wall, I mean, you're too tight. So that's too much left rear drive in the middle of the corner. So, I mean, if the car is going to the wall, that tells you what you need to know. I mean, the left rear is driving harder than the right rear. So that's where you go. To the wall.
Gotcha. William says, "Oh, you said it must be a dyno appointment for the first Monday of May."
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah, it's sorry, it's beyond my calendar. I got on the wall right now. So.
Monday's better.
No, I mean Monday's fine. I mean, like if I send you an appointment for Monday, it's a good. But
Yep. Okay, let's see. We've got another one from Chad. He says, with an anti-reversion on a 604 Crate Late model with show and filled headers, do you recommend any exhaust past the anti-reversion?
You don't need to run any, but it's not going to hurt you to like run turn downs. So
yeah,
but I wouldn't run like another 18 inches or 12 inches of pipe. So turn down's fine, but no, there's no reason to go beyond that.
Yeah, good to know. All right, wow. We just had a big run of questions right there.
Good.
Yeah, no, that's
why we're here.
That is exactly why we're here. How was your week, though, Steve? Yeah, I'm just not going to ask anymore. Not going to ask.
Insane.
Well, that's good. Yeah, mine was too. It's just such a struggle to get stuff right now. So.
Oh, we're having that problem. Matter of fact, Crate Racing USA and Rush.
Oh, it's a good PSA here.
Just said that we can use aftermarket piston rings because we can't get piston rings from GM.
Right.
Obviously, those engines will be, they're serialized, so and this is no performance advantage. This is just what they're going to allow us to do.
Yeah. So it'll be known and
it's
documented.
known and it's documented which engines will have these rings in there, but. We haven't been able to get freaking piston rings from GM.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's a challenge.
It's been a total clusterfuck.
Hey, I got air filters this week.
You did? You got like 800,000 air filters this week.
Yeah, I may have gotten 2 pallets. That may have really upset the guys at the shop, and now they want me to move out. Yeah, they said, Kate, you need to come down here and you get this stuff out of our way.
Yeah, get the shit out of the fucking way.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was more accurately exactly what he said. Yes. So, yeah, to get loaded up.
You and evil assistant Tori showed up on Tuesday and got all the shit out of the way. It
was Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah, because dropped off my car because nothing happens on Tuesdays. So there's no appointments on Tuesdays in my world.
Right.
So I've got Top 5 Tuesday that day, and it's a super busy phone day. So yes, we did, and they're all piled up on top of the pallet racking, and yeah.
You know how mad I'm going to be when I got to get on a ladder to ship a fucking air filter?
Well, you bring down one box at a time.
Yeah, no, I'm still going to be mad.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to, you might be a basic bitch with your beer, but I'm just going to need you to kind of bitch down a little bit, okay? All right,
Man up or bitch down, is that what it is?
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that, yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, we're back to anti-reversion. JR says, you just said not to run pipe past the anti-reversion muffler.
Right.
I run pavement and was wondering if I'm wasting my money using them if I run 36-inch straight pipes after the reversion. I mean,
no, you're not wasting your money using them by any means. I'm just saying you don't have to run anything after the muffler.
Right.
So there's no reason to, unless if your rules call for it. I mean, I've got Northeast modifieds, like big block modifieds, running anti-reversion, and hell, they got like freaking 5 foot of damn extension because the exhaust has got to exit out of the back of the car. So no, it's not going to hurt you, but there's no reason to run more than you need to.
Is it better to be close to the collector, or is it better to be close to the end of the system?
It depends on the primary tube length of the header.
Okay.
Normally, the longer the primaries are, the closer you want it to the collector.
Okay.
And then the shorter the primaries are, you might need some extension to make things work right.
Okay, so most of our long tube headers.
It's honestly, unless it's something we've dynoed specifically or we've worked with, I'm going to recommend that people get it on a chassis dyno and to play with the links, because engine dyno will tell you jack shit. I mean, you're wasting time on a fucking engine dyno, but on the with the anti-reversion stuff. But I would definitely get on a chassis dyno and play with the links of collector versus where the muffler's sitting. But primarily, normally, the longer the primary tube length, the closer you want the muffler to the collector.
Well, and I was just mentioning that most of the crate headers that we sell are long tube headers, so.
I wouldn't call them super long tube.
No, but they're called long tube headers.
Yeah, I mean the way the Profab stuff's designed, I wouldn't even call them long tube at all. I'd call them probably like more mid-length.
Okay.
But yeah, we run them right on the collector.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the way the header's designed, not
right.
So you got to play with the shit. Is what I'm getting at.
All right. David asks, how much total ignition time? We run 35.
For what?
David, if you could let us know if you got a 602 or a 604 or what you got there.
Yeah, I mean 602 or 604. Generally, 34 is safe all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then depending on what kind of fuel that you're using, I've got E85 stuff running 38 degrees.
Yeah.
I've got, gas stuff running, 34. So like, a couple years ago when I did the whole engine for Bloomquist deal, we dynoed the day we dynoed.
On Thanksgiving.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving. That's just the bloomer. That's how shit works. But like the day we dynoed, we were on CHP fuel and it was super cold. It was a good day to dyno. Not super cold, but I was like perfect day to dyno. And I mean, most power was at 34.
Yeah.
We went to 35, 36 and lost power. So we automatically go back to 34. We gain power. So it'll vary, but usually it's, the kind of fuel you're running and what your air fuel ratio is.
Gotcha. All right. The question is for me.
Ooh,
from Rock. It says for Kate, do you sell the GM head gasket separately for the 603, 604? The answer to that is no, I do not.
Assume it's header gasket.
Yeah. Well, no. He says head gaskets. Header gaskets would be different. Header gaskets, yes, I sell those. Head gaskets, I don't, because in most of the divisions or most of the racing applications, guys can't get into their own engines, so they can't replace their own head gaskets, and that's just going to be an engine builder thing. Right. So I do not sell head gaskets, but I do sell header gaskets. Yes, we really like those ones. Really for the 604. I don't have a great 602 header gasket option. I need to do a little bit of homework on that for sure. Yeah. All right. And then JR, he was using the 36-inch straight pipes, and he was using the Schoenfeld tri-Y headers. Is really what that applied to on that. And then the ignition time that he was running 35 is for 602.
So on a Schoenfeld tri-Y, you want to run the muffler right on the end of the collector.
Okay.
So
great, and then he can run his 36-inch.
If you have to, yeah. I mean, if you don't, just put a turn down and dump it out right out of the muffler.
There we go. Great. Okay. Christopher's here, says hi from Monterey, California.
All right.
We have people here from California and Georgia and North Carolina.
Like right across the street from my hometown.
Yeah.
Or the Bay. Not necessarily the street, but the Bay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course. I'll bet you miss California sometimes.
I miss all my friends, obviously. I miss the convenience of everything that we had there. I mean, other than like Newsom lockdown for the last year. So I'm going to say pre-COVID. I miss the weather. The weather's what I miss. Yeah. Because him being from Monterey, he had the same weather as I had in Santa Cruz. So that's what I miss. I miss the damn weather.
Yeah.
I used to love summertime there, and now I just dread it here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like cool and foggy in the morning in California, and then it's
don't miss the taxes.
Degrees.
Don't miss the politics. Don't miss all the friggin' hippies. So.
Wow. Yeah, I do love being in Rutherford, North Carolina, or as we say it, Ruffton is how we say it here.
That's not how I say it.
Well, that has.
I refuse to succumb to the whole.
I do too. So I call it Rutherfordton because
I still call baby chickens or chicks, not dibs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I do say y'all. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll say that every now and again.
Yeah. You know what? Actually,
but I've always said that. So
okay. I have a question for you. So if you could go back to pre-COVID days, what is one thing you wish you had done pre-COVID? Like, what is one thing you wish you'd done? Anything? Because, the world has changed. And,
going back to Europe, obviously. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's not obvious. It's like
to me, I mean, that's one of my favorite places in the world is anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it'll be a few years. It's kind of on my dream list of places, you know.
but I ain't
wanna
flying.
visit.
I'm not flying nowhere if I got to wear a stupid mask. So there you go.
Right. Yeah, I would say that mine. I thought of it today.
I'll be like the people that got kicked off the airplane the other day because their 2-year-old toddler was eating food and didn't have a mask on.
Oh, well,
So that'll be me.
I don't know. I don't get it,
I'm
but
not
whatever. I would say the one thing that I wish I'd done was gone to DC and had a DC trip before there was fences around everything.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Before pre-protest, pre-fences, pre-lockdown, everything. Because it's a really cool city and can be really inspirational. And now, I mean, I don't know, whatever. But I wish I would have done that.
Democrat
before.
controlled right now. There you go.
Yeah. No, I actually just saw. I watch a lot of YouTube, and one question that was posed was, "Hey, do you think this is the end of school kids visiting DC? You know, and going on a DC trip?"
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, at least for now. I mean,
Could
of course,
be.
kids
Who
really
knows?
aren't in school, but
Got a bunch of wacky son of a bitches in charge, so who knows what's going to happen.
all right, we do have a. I'm going to need some details on this question here,
All
Steve.
right.
All right, from Matt Henderson, his racing page. He says, "Steve, how much Permatex should I use
You fucker.
as a header gasket? Can we do a video like where we demonstrate how much
We might have to because fucking Henderson just asked a question.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, and this is actually
Little to none.
Yeah, well, we need to do a demo.
If you're using profabs, you're using wiles, little to none. If you're using anything else, you might need to like gob that shit on there. Who knows?
Wow. Wow. Yeah. No, we definitely need to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Christopher says, yeah, he says you missed the seafood here on the bay. You know who doesn't eat seafood? Steve.
This guy.
Steve does not eat seafood.
I do not miss seafood.
Nope.
No, I don't miss seafood at all.
Yeah.
I'm
all right. We got a
like,
big one.
Shrimp is the extent of my seafood.
All right. Arliss is asking, at what compression ratio do you need to start running good gas? I have an open 355 with just some flat top pistons, 9.5, 9.5.
9.5 to 1. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
9.5, 10 to 1.
Okay. Area with Dart Sportsman heads. I read somewhere that the 602s ran just as good or better on the low octane gas. So I've been running 93 and haven't noticed that much difference. Question is really at what compression ratio do you benefit from the higher octane, and will it hurt my motor running on the 93?
No, I mean 9.5 to 1 motor. I mean we'll run fine on 93. Are you getting the best performance? No. You can. I mean octane's kind of a deceiving number.
Yeah.
Because I mean if you look at something like CHP, you're talking it's 107 octane, but it's also got like 14 or 15% oxygenation in the fuel, oxygen content. Right. So you benefit by the oxygen content, but the octane rating, it doesn't hurt you at that point because you're benefiting from the oxygen. Something like your engine, I would definitely be running something like CHP for sure, or an E85 if it's legal. Where you really need to get into higher octane fuels is when you get like above about 12.5, 13 to 1. So
yeah, and of course if you can run methanol, do that.
Well, yeah, I mean methanol is just fucking cure all for everything. I have no idea why we can't run that everywhere, but
yeah. Yep. Matt is laughing. Yeah, I do need to get him to do a video though, Matt.
He sent me a freaking message last night talking about his win.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to say what he said.
Okay. Gotcha. I saw it on Facebook today. All right. More Racing says, I run 19-inch tires on PS and 19-inch on right front, 20-inch right rear. I don't understand on the PS. Am I supposed to be running a 20-inch on both PS? I don't know what you mean.
I'm sorry.
I have no idea. If you could spell that out, I'd appreciate that. I don't know. I don't know what that means. John says, do you recommend running the aluminum balancer on a 602, or is that a no-no?
Well, I mean, if it's in your rules to where you can do it, I mean, so long as, I mean, the the 602s got like they're zero balanced on the front side and they got a counterweight on the back side. So I mean, if it's something you can run, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I'd run it, but I mean, you're talking like getting rid of weight that's like that big in diameter.
Well, what about, is that about 9 inches, 8 inches? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8 inches in diameter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you eliminate like 3 pounds, 4 pounds, something like that, going like in that diameter.
From 8
That's
inches.
not going to make a difference. Now you get rid of something like back here on the backside.
So it's like a 24 inch. I'm describing because this is a podcast, so people can't see your hands.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean.
That big.
Yeah.
Like flywheel?
Like 24
Flywheel is going to make
18.
a hell of a lot of difference versus balance.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. We got a long one here. Danny says barometric pressure and weather conditions, as we are in upstate New York, moisture affects some of the fuel to air ratio. You mentioned earlier that jetting is not recommended, but engines here seem to want a jet change as day turns to night. What's something that's recommended?
It does here. I mean, me and my brother actually, we went through and like did a whole jet change chart, and we had a whole air station in my trailer, like when we went to the races.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. I mean, in order to keep the same air fuel ratio from like, of course we dynoed everything, measured everything, barometric pressure, the whole 9 yards. Right. And then of course we made a whole, what do you call it? Spreadsheet on what we had to do jet wise to keep everything the same as the day we dynoed and we're producing max power, right?
Right.
And what you find is that barometric pressure's got to change a lot. I mean, there's no, like, I can think of, like, we had a whole air station in my freaking trailer, everything, because we're gonna be trick, we're gonna outrun everybody because we've got, all this info that nobody else has got, and I think we changed jets like twice, ever. And because it doesn't change enough to change jets. And what a lot of people don't know is, like, let's say you have a 74 or 75 jet front and back, right? Let's say you have to go to a 76 from 74, okay? Well, like what a lot of people don't know is, like, some of these jets are actually smaller. So if you go from a 74 to a 76, the 76 is smaller than 74. That's an example. It's not true to fact. I'm just using those numbers.
Okay.
So to me, it's a waste of time.
Well, if it is something that you guys wanted to dive into.
Now, if you're drag racing, I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's interesting that Willys used to have an app that would.
He does.
They haven't really kept it active because it would show you the barometric pressure and everything from the airport that would be closest to where you're at, and it would also just explain that, hey, if there's this much of a change, that this is the jetting that you'd want to go to. Would be different.
So, I'm not a fan.
But you said something about drag racing.
Now, if we're talking altitude, there's a benefit. Because, I mean, you're not going to go from sea level to 5,000 feet and use the same jets, right? Right. Then you'd want to change jets. But it's like your local Saturday night racetrack, from, let's say, this time of year until, September, if you had to change jets more than twice that entire time, I'd be amazed.
Wow. All right. We do have, we're going to go back to that tire question. And PS stands for passenger side. So passenger side. I run 19-inch tires on the passenger side and 19-inch on right front. Well, that's the same thing. 20-inch right rear. Am I supposed to be running a 20-inch on both passenger sides?
I mean, that's just. What kind of car you got? I mean,
looks like a stock car.
What kind of stagger you want? I mean, stagger is what determines what you want to run for tire diameter. Yeah. And 19-inch tire is really freaking small, so that can't be.
I think that's a stock car, and a lot of that's going to depend on, a lot of things. Your air pressure.
Yeah, there's so many variables, man.
Yeah, not something we can really quickly answer.
No, nine times out of 10, we're turning left, so we want stagger in the car of some sort. Me personally, I never liked anything more than like 4 inches of stagger. So,
but that's a personal preference.
That's
right?
a personal preference. So, I've got customers like 8. You know.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Trent Ivy used to in his crate car. He ran 8 inches of stagger everywhere he went.
Huh.
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I mean, I think that's a different deal. But he says he's running. And then More Racing is dropping in saying I'm running 19-inch tires on front and back driver's side, and on passenger side I'm running 20 inches in the rear, 19 inches in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And should I be running a 20-inch in the passenger side front too? I mean, same answer in that we can't really tell.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, like, he's on the chat in here, so like Matt Henderson, he's like a chassis dude.
Yeah.
And he's the CVR house car driver.
Matt, will you come down to North Carolina and join us on our show?
Yeah, Matt's drove 1 each everything.
Yeah.
So I'd probably ask Matt. Maybe PM him or something, and he can help you out better than I can. Because, dude, I build race engines, and I turn left.
Well, I will say
I'm not a setup guy or anything by any means.
Well, I think these have been stock cars too, and if you have IMCA stock car rules, I'm just going to say definitely check out. The good investment would be the Race Logic Chassis School with the IMCA stock car with Mike Nichols. He's the winningest.
That's the last one.
He is the winningest IMCA stock car driver. Yeah. He's won, I don't know, a stupid number of championships. Right. And again, free tires. From him, well, it's not free. I mean, once you buy it, you can, and then like we saw from Danny getting that support after the fact. And so that's really where it really gets into the chassis stuff. We cover a little bit more of just, random and engine things. But with the chassis stuff, we talked about tires. We talked about siping and, just a lot of the tips and tricks, because the IMCA stock cars especially have far more stringent rules than about anything else. Yeah. The metric street stocks we've got on the East Coast here are pretty much like a late model with a different body at this point.
Honestly, yeah, it's gotten a little bit out of hand. But.
It's a little on the extra side, but of course there's the metric street stock class too. Mm-hmm. But I would really say that there was some really fantastic information. Oh, yeah. And talking about, I know they talked about stagger. I know they talked about shocks and where you're putting your weight, and just a lot of those intricate details that make the difference between being a top 5 car and just being middle of the pack.
Yeah, it answers a lot of questions people have. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry I couldn't answer the question. I mean, yeah, but I'm definitely going to give you a referral to somebody who can.
Right. So that's a good one. All right. Isaac says, do you think we can drink 2 cases in one night?
Yeah, with Rainy? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You think so?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no freaking question about that shit. Are we throwing Peden in the mix here or what?
Yeah, we had a good time up at the crate class. Now, of course, I was not out doing the drinking thing because I'm boring.
Oh, yeah, you were like all boring that.
Yeah. Oh, it might have been something to do with the fact that I was, nervous and getting stuff set up for the video shoot and all that stuff. But
I'm pretty freaking sure. Yeah, no, we could pull it off.
I think so.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Why do you think I bought him a kegerator? Because should get tired of the recycling. All right. William says, what do you think about the kit that takes the wind out of the crankcase?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Steve's not a fan. I'm just going to answer for you.
Yep.
I would say that I sell most of those to the Midwestern market, to modifieds, and less so on the East Coast with late models. And what we're talking about is the Kevco.
Primarily because it's illegal here.
Well, the evac system is, but the other one that's just pulling from the breathers is not illegal.
It's still illegal in a lot of markets.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Not everything. I mean, Crate USA, it's legal.
Right. Okay. I thought it was. I didn't see that one being illegal, but mostly it's for my modified market in Midwest.
Yeah,
I did a video on that this week.
I'm not a fan of pulling a vacuum on a crate engine because none of the seals in that engine are designed to pull a vacuum. Right. So you're sucking dirt straight into your freaking crankcase if you're trying to pull a vacuum, and you're sucking dirt like right by those seals. So, not a fan.
Okay.
Does it make power? Yeah, it makes a few. Is it worth it? I don't know. You got $1 million?
I don't.
Are you $1 million team? If you're $1 million team, run that shit. If you're not, if you're like me and everybody else, you better not run it.
Well, I mean, the ones that are just on top of the crank, on top of the breathers.
The breather system's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm talking about
that's what I'm trying to be very clear on here. Is we're not talking.
But he's
about
talking about the
evac.
crankcase.
Well,
so he's talking about evac in the crankcase.
That's one piece of it, but the other there's kind of two versions of this. There's one that's the evac-ing the great crankcase.
But he's talking about evac in the crankcase.
Well, what would you call it when you got the shielded breathers?
What do you mean?
The little breathers.
That's just a vent.
Right. Okay.
He's talking about pulling a vacuum in the engine, I believe.
Well,
to
there's
evac
two
the
products.
crankcase.
There's two products. So let's just be clear that you don't like the one where you put a bung into the header and you're pulling that vacuum.
Correct.
Whereas the other one you don't care. You don't care one
No,
way or
I mean
the other.
that's fine. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's a question we need Alex here for. Tom says, how many races will Alex run this year?
I don't know yet, honestly. Car's basically done. I mean, we've been so busy at work. The time they've had to work on the car has been on the weekends, basically. So, I mean, the car's basically done. We're waiting on our trailer. Got a new trailer coming. So as soon as the trailer gets here, I don't know. It just depends on where we want to go with him. So I'm going to say probably 20 to 25 races, somewhere in that range.
Good deal. Well, I mean, racing season is just getting geared up here now, right?
If he doesn't fuck nothing up like he did the last 2 years.
Well, it reminds me of like when I learned to drive, and my dad's word of advice, not as a race car, but just my word of advice to me was,
and your dad's a race car driver.
My dad is a race car driver, and he told me, just, hey, one rule, just keep it between the ditches.
Yep.
And basically just don't wreck your shit. Right? that was his word of advice for how to run. Yeah.
Down the roads of Minnesota.
Yeah. Man, he should have told me, like, don't hit a deer. Like, don't hit objects standing in
There's
the road.
that, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you ever play that that game that you'd be in was a video game and you sat in it and it had a steering wheel and you got to drive down the road, like different roads of America?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And I can't think of what that one's called.
You're aging yourself now.
Hey, I'm going with 40 something. That's my final answer. All right. We got another question from JR says, how many race days should we get on our 602 before we rebuild? We run 50 lap races on a 1/4 to 3/8 inch, 3/8 mile oval.
Again, back to like the first, I mean, I'm sure you missed what we said at the start of the show, but excuse me. I'd leak them down every 10 races. And so long as it leaks down, fine. I mean, I'm under 12 to 15% cold, then just keep running it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason not to. Once you see that higher percentage of leak down, then it's probably time to like freshen it.
Good to know. You talk about leaking it down, and you do have a preferred. I mean, the Longacre leak down tester.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's what.
I just can't get any right now, so hopefully you already have a leak down tester.
I mean, there's plenty of people that make them, but I mean, that's just the one I have, and
yeah,
I like it. It works good.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's an analog. It's not a digital. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do make a digital version.
They make a digital one, but you don't need that.
Right. So. Oh, and Arliss is hooking me up. He says, Cruising USA is the video game you're talking about it. I've played them many times. Reason why is because that was one where, like, if you're cruising through Iowa, that deer would pop out on the road and, like, you would hit them.
Did you miss it?
I would try. So, man, but that was the best.
So you hit the deer in real life and in the video game?
Oh, I'm sure. But my gosh, if there was one video game that I really like to play, when you're like at a restaurant or something, that was one. That was one that was a lot of fun that I loved. That Cruising USA. I think you'd remember it if you saw it.
Probably.
Yeah, it was good. I'm sure it would suck right now. I mean, like we would go and, oh man, look at these graphics. But back then we were like, oh man, look at these graphics.
It was like playing Defender and fucking Pac-Man back in the day. It's like, wow, this is fucking awesome.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I never did like Tank though. The Tanks, the one that came with the Atari. Yeah. Yeah, I never liked that one. I actually ended up watching a YouTube video where somebody was playing Pitfall the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god, I loved that game." And Tori had never seen Pitfall; she had no idea.
Good God!
I know. Talk about aging yourself, and it was like Pitfall was the bomb.
Yeah,
when I was a
fun
kid.
Shit.
Yeah, Pitfall. Yeah, it was amazing. All right, back to work now.
Yeah.
All right. Tom says, what is that 10 to 15%? Some have bought used engines need actual number. Talk about leak down.
10 to 15% leak down.
Yes. So when you're doing a leak down, you're
putting 100 pounds of air in the cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're losing 10 to 15, if you're losing 15%, then that's 15% that's either going out the intake, out the exhaust, or in the oil pan.
And we actually do have a video on how to do a leak down.
Yeah, correct.
Test. It was actually one of the very first videos we did back in the days. I think back then I didn't have I didn't own a tripod yet.
It's probably shaky.
Oh yeah.
A little shaky.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Those early videos were terrible, but hey, the information's
you got to start somewhere.
Yep, exactly. All right. Stuart says, "Hey guys, anything in the pipeline coming for 2-barrel carbs with choke horn?"
No. Honestly, no. That's such a rare.
There are so many 2-barrels. There are so many 2-barrels out there.
There's a lot, but it's nothing that I deal with on a daily basis. If you're looking for something like that, I would honestly contact Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Because Willie's a fucking 2-barrel king, actually. He's pretty freaking badass with that shit.
Oh yeah, he's so good and on top of it.
Yeah.
Because like those Holley 4412s for a while, there was like this whole rule thing where
he's got some stuff he does to that'll pass gauge tests, but
Well, he's just so on top of it that
you know what I mean?
I do. But at one point, Holley had a different metal they were using. Yeah. And so it was like technically illegal for all these series, but the truth is you couldn't get like zinc or whatever it was. It was interesting.
But yeah, I talked to Willie on 2-barrel stuff. He's pretty much an ace.
All right. Nick says, is it worth cryogenic treating springs?
No,
602
absolutely
springs?
Not. That is a waste of money, waste of time, waste of everything.
Well, especially 602 springs.
Correct.
I mean, they are what they are. They just are what they are.
We've cryoed shit before. I mean, a friend of mine who's another engine builder, he's like cryoed, 604 head bolts, for crying out loud. And no, don't waste your money. Don't waste your time.
Yeah. And don't be fooled by somebody trying to sell you something that's stupid expensive.
It's not magic. Trust me.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's like snake oil.
Yeah. Oh, well, we don't do that here.
No.
Yeah. We don't let that slide.
Nope.
Yeah. Anything exciting coming up in the pipeline for you, Steve?
No, just work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This is how it feels to be popular.
Hoping to get a weekend off at some point before Alex goes racing.
Oh, do you want to go do something fun?
Go do something, anything.
Well,
we
can do that.
Get the hell out of Dodge for a day.
Where would you want to go? Where would you want to go driving distance?
We got friends of ours who were like talking about like going to Chatola or something like that up in Boone. So
yeah,
that'd be like a good little getaway.
That'd be a great little mini getaway.
Yeah.
We could totally do that. All right, we just need to get it on the calendar. Just make the reservations. We'll be done with it. Yeah, that would be good. And we could always do the show on the way back.
Do that too.
Yeah.
I'll be driving, obviously. So.
No, well, I don't know. No, you can't do. You're like. No, I would take care of that.
How are you gonna do the show if I'm not fucking driving?
Well, you'd
have to wait till we got back. Honestly.
Yeah, well, that might be fact. Okay.
I'm not taking my eye off the road.
Well, I know that. Yeah, which is
because I don't hit deer in the middle of the road, unlike some people.
Oh my God! Seriously, you have no idea. Like, honestly, trying to live in Minnesota and not hit a deer is trying to not get any pollen in your car this time of year.
Right.
Yeah, it's like dodging pollen because they're everywhere. Or at least they were. Obviously they've. Who knows? Things have probably.
You hit them all, so they're not.
I did not hit them all. I only hit like 3 in one summer. 2 of them I hit at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, on a gravel road.
In your summer car.
Well, I had a year-round car, but yeah, I mean, my summer car was a winter car.
So, like, the deer knocked the rust off of it, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, God, what was the car? I can't remember. I might have hit that in my Firebird. Yeah, the other one, when I hit that with a Honda Civic. Yeah, that was scary.
You guys had the mule deer out there too, so they were like big ass son of bitches.
Oh, they're huge. They're huge. Charles has little PSA for us. He says, Biden said we might get to celebrate the 4th of July.
Fuck that stupid son of a bitch.
Wow. Okay, wow. You went a little far there, Steve.
No, I've got no use for him or his administration or anybody that has anything to do with it.
I'm just shocked that you keep showing pictures of your guns on.
Absolutely, I'm going to. To hell with them.
Well, see, I'm not, because then they don't know what they have, so they don't know to take anything away from me.
Well, hell, my shit might get lost in a fucking boating accident tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah,
Screw
that
'em.
wouldn't surprise me at all. That would not surprise me.
Matter of fact, I probably shouldn't say that.
Okay. Yeah.
After the whole ghost gun thing came out the other day, I bought 3.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Yeah, if you have secrets, Steve is not the vault.
Well, no, I just don't care. I mean, what are they going to do about it? I mean, the law is the law.
Yeah.
What, he's going to sign an executive order to change the fucking law? That doesn't work. It's going to go to the Supreme Court, just like frickin' Trump's damn bump stock ban did.
Yeah.
And it's going to get thrown out.
Well, they just won't listen to it because I don't know what did they even do.
Well, no, they're going to listen to it. Trump shit got thrown out with the whole bump stock ban.
Well, I don't know.
Of course, the ATF's going, oh, well, we're not going to listen to fucking court.
Okay, that clown.
The problem we got is the ATF. It's not necessarily like all the bullshit that freaking Biden's doing.
Well, that clown really upset me.
Oh, he's a clown.
Yeah, I mean, really upset me.
Yeah.
Talking about like hiding your guns behind your, cans of tuna. Well, dude.
Screw you, dude.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being a little bit prepared. So.
Right.
So don't be knocking my prepper ways and making fun of my guns and eating at home or anything. Mm-hmm. So, alrighty. Well, I think we're out of questions. I think we were right at about an hour. Do you have any last thoughts? Have you any last moments of thoughts here?
Not really.
Down either.
Oh, again, congratulations to Matt Henderson and Booger Brooks.
Oh, okay.
Because both of them won this weekend for us. So.
And now Bobby Koch the 4th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's like one of your
buddies. Yep. Well,
I knew him since he was like that tall.
Oh, that's funny. So. Gotcha. Well, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of the show. You can join us every Sunday live on Facebook and YouTube on the Crate Insider Facebook and YouTube page. Or we also put this out as part of the Racing Insiders podcast on Mondays. Yep. So Mondays, and definitely tune in to, if you're in your iTunes or anything else, please leave us a review over there. We'd really appreciate it. So thanks, you guys, and we'll see you next week.
And
what?
Goodbye.
Bye.
And Scrooge.